brain gain in Africa, whereby all that we have learned or we collaborate with in different researches in other parts of in the Europe, we can bring it down to of the continent. So we look at an interactive and exciting session this afternoon for this webinar, and we are sure that our speakers are well loaded to deliver us and give us more understanding on how we can get brain gain for Africa and to have a better collaboration with the European Union. So I want everybody to sit back, relax, and enjoy this webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that brief and very catchy opening remarks. So, I'll just introduce our first speaker, Professor Wilfred Ukpere. Professor Ukpere holds a Bachelor of Commerce, Master of Commerce, and another Master of Commerce in Business Administration from India, as well as a doctorate in Human Resource Management from the Cape Peninsula University of Technology, CPUT, Cape Town. His doctoral thesis explored the functional relationship between globalization, internationalization, human resources, and industrial democracy. Professor Ukpere has 20 years working experience in industry and academia. He has worked with the Radical Pharmaceutical Company in India, the Central Institute of Management in Ambala, the Central Bank of Nigeria in Abuja, and at the Cape Peninsula University of Technology in Cape Town, where he lectured and served as head of department entrepreneurship and business management. Wilfred is currently a professor in the Department of Industrial Psychology and People Management at the University of Johannesburg. He contributes a strong theoretical approach in his research, with most of his output centered on critiquing the impact of capitalism in the post-Cold War era, notably in the context of emerging economies. He is an established researcher in the field of people management and development, notably within the domain of globalization and its impact on human resources management. He has authored 3 books, 2 book chapters, 34 conference presentations, proceedings, and more than 200 journal articles. He is the first NRF, that's National Research Foundation, rated researcher in the Faculty of Business at CPUT, and has received numerous research-related awards in recognition of his research contributions from CPUT, University of Johannesburg, the NRF, and Iona College, the United States of America. Professor Ukpere demonstrates an ability to secure vital partnerships with local and international research collaborators, particularly in India and North Africa. He serves on the research committee of the Human Resources Research Initiative of the South Africa's Board of People Practices. He also acts as an external examiner for postgraduates and as external moderator for several universities. Ukpere's name has appeared in the Marquis Schools Who, and he received a Life Achievement Award from Marquis Who is Who in recognition of his academic contributions and achievements. He has been a visiting academic to several international institutions in India, the Spiru Harith University in Romania, and top 3 universities in Nigeria. He served as a scientific reviewer for several academic journals and international conferences. He is an editorial advisory board member for several academic journals, including the International Journal of Social Economics, Emerald Insight, Nigerian Journal of Management Research, Pakistani Economic and Social Review, and the Journal of Communication, and Paraj. He was the chief editor of the Journal of Management and Technology, former editor-in-chief of the African Journal of Business Management, as well as former co-editor of the South African Journal of Human Resources Management. He's married to Gladys, a chief professional nurse and midwife. They have 4 children, Helen, Wilfred, Williams, and Winnipeg. Dear colleagues, welcome Professor Wilfred Ukpere to his talk.
Thank you very much. I think I must also thank you guys for organizing this particular occasion or this particular function and giving me the opportunity to talk. Of course, when I was invited to be part of your program today, I must say that I have a lot of things on my table because since the dawn of the COVID-19, We have been working on that very stringent ways, in terms of continuous assessment of students, no written exam any longer, and so many other things. But I think it's worthwhile to actually know some new friends and be part of your activities today. Thank you very much. I will be delivering the topic you guys asked me to deliver today. I don't know why the... Oh, I need to share it again. Okay, it's a kind of season. Share again. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. Okay, great. Thanks a lot. So today I'll be talking on exploring the nexus between brain drain, brain gain, and brain circulation for EU-African cooperation. When we talk about brain drain, I think it's just very, very necessary for us to give a little context to it. Brain drain, which is also referred to as human capital flight. Over the years, we have been hearing about human capital flight, but somehow some people may not understand that it's also one and the same thing as brain drain. It's actually the emigration of highly skilled current and prospective workers from developing countries to developed countries. So when we talk about current, we are talking about those who are already skilled workers, professionals, who are leaving Africa or leaving any country within Africa to advanced countries to seek for greener pastures. And of course, when we talk about prospective workers, we're talking about the students, African students that are leaving Africa to acquire higher degrees in overseas. And to a certain extent, after the degrees, some of them never come back to Africa again, So that is why we'll speak about highly skilled and, of course, prospective workers from developing countries to developed countries. Now, with regards to the origin of brain drain was first coined by the British Royal Society to depict the persistent exodus of engineers, physicians, scholars, and other professionals from the United Kingdom to USA and Canada, I think particularly after the Second World War, So that is a little bit about the context. Curie posited or defined brain drain as the migration of specialized set of people such as medical doctors, engineers, scientists, academics, amongst others, from one nation to another, usually to earn higher wages or better living standard. To earn higher wages or better living standards. So in other words, brain drain results in the loss of highly educated individuals with great expertise and sometimes wealth of experience, and of course from mainly or generally poor countries, which is of course the source, to majorly rich recipient countries. For instance, brains moving from Nigeria or moving from South Africa or Ghana to countries like the rich countries of the world, like United Kingdom, United States, France, and of course Canada. I see. That is a clear example of brain drain. So within the context of the current paper, with regards to our current paper, brain drain simply refers to the emigration of highly skilled professionals from Africa to Europe, America, and of course, Middle East have been added to the whole issue as one of the brain gain countries, or countries that Africans are migrating to. If you go to Dubai today, you see a lot of Africans working in different organizations in the Middle East or in Dubai. Okay, you see? And of course, some Asian countries, people from Africa now are even taking job in some Asian countries. But if you look back in the 80s, you will see that, for instance, the Middle East is more or less a desert, and in fact, they were in fact coming to seek for African support. And the same thing applies to Asia. In the 80s, in the 70s, Asians were coming to countries like Nigeria to work. So Nigeria was like, in fact, the recipient country with regards to brain drain. You know, I remember that at least I met some of the Indians as my class teacher when I was in class 1, you know, in that particular environment. So, in Australia, where wages, they normally move to places where wages, working condition, and living condition are better than their native countries. You see, where wages, working condition, and of course living condition are better than their native countries. So every day Africans are losing their best scientists, or African countries are losing their best scientists, academics, doctors, nurses, accountants, and other sought after professions through this phenomena called brain drain. Now, we progress. Over the years, it has been observed that brain drain has adversely impacted on the socio-economic development of countries in this mother continent, which is of course Africa. Over the years, it has been observed. Because if you look at our hospitals today, you see that we have huge shortage of doctors. Or you look at our environment, you can see that we have huge shortage of engineers. But when you go to America, you see that most of the hospitals are dominated by Nigerian doctors, Ghanaian doctors. Can you see? Doing the real job. In fact, recently, a Nigerian doctor was able to operate a woman who was having a problem with her child in the stomach by operating the woman, bringing out the child, and of course, fixing the child back. What a medical breakthrough, can you see? So, these are the things we see every time. The fact that we have observed a kind of adverse impact in terms of our own development while improving the lots of other countries, or supporting the development of other countries outside Africa. So the migration of highly trained professionals out of Africa leave many countries in the continent short of the requisite skills to address the economic challenges confronting them. So this issue of brain drain is actually hitting Africa hard, you know, in the sense that when these powerful professionals and skills migrate, it actually creates a huge vacuum in terms of Africa meeting up or rising up to the challenges confronting them day after day. Now, with regards to the problem statement and objective of the paper, I would just like to give context to it. Several factors are responsible for brain drain of professionals from Africa, such as economic, socio-political, or even personal factors. It cost nations in African continent huge resources or amount of money and time to train their professionals who eventually migrate through brain drain to more advanced countries of Europe and America. There's always an expectation that after a while, some of them might return to their native countries to contribute their wealth of knowledge and international experience and exposure to their native country in Africa through brain circulation, or what is also referred to as brain gain. However, in most cases, this dream seems to have become a mirage owing to some social, political, and economic challenges which have not changed since they first left their native fatherland or their native lands. I see. So, the objective of this research will actually be to explore the nexus between brain drain, brain gain, and of course brain circulation. And the second objective there is to reflect on how brain drain of African professionals affect the economic development of the continent. Then the third one there will be to profile as well as reinforce some already identified solution to the problem. Then the next one is to explore ways of improving EU and African cooperation in the domain of brain drain, brain gain, and of course brain circulation. Well, with regards to the methodology of this research, it's an exploratory study that is based on conceptual analysis, literature review, which involve theory building, and of course, emic perspective, which is the insider's viewpoint. Due to time constraint, because I was just, like I said, I was just informed at a very short notice, so you don't have time to start digging into primary data to start asking questions. So I decided to rely more on secondary data in terms of preparing this work. All right. Now, who are the targets of brain drain? Like I have already mentioned, if you look at the diagram there, you can see the targets. Country A there is, of course, let's say African countries or countries within the continent of Africa. And you can see those that are living. They are students. Can you see? Many of our students, many of our prospective students are leaving Africa to study overseas. Why? Because also the education system within the African continent has been so compromised. I see. If we give a good example of Nigerian University, you can see that there are so many challenges with Nigerian University. In fact, in the 70s and 80s, Nigerian universities were one of the most recognized and most revered universities in the world. To the extent that most African countries even come to Nigeria to study. But now today, our universities are just a mere shadow of themselves. And the continuous strike between ASU and, of course, the government has become a permanent sight within the Nigerian environment. So that alone can prompt a lot of people to leave. You can see most of our students are now moving to Europe. Many of them are moving to Russia. Many of them are now migrating to Ukraine. Many of them are migrating to Hungary. You know, not just America that we used to go before, America and United Kingdom. You can see Nigerian students everywhere, in every part of the world. And of course, since the fall of apartheid in South Africa, if you see the body of Nigerian students in South Africa, you'll be wondering if all Nigerian students have left Nigeria. So this is a very good example of the, at least within the African continent, I think South Africa is still maintaining some standard compared to so many other countries. And of course, Ghana is also rising up in terms of academic issue. That is why you see that also a lot of Nigerians are moving into Ghana to study. Can you see? Because the ASU strike can actually hinder a student who was planning to complete his study within a space of 4 years, then spending more than 7 years doing a first degree. And it strikes me, it reminds me of myself who studied overseas. I remember when I came back to do my national service also in Nigeria, people were asking me, how come you have all this degree? And some of these people asking me this were even my senior in terms of age. Because when I came to do my national service actually in Nigeria, I have already a bachelor's degree and 2 master's degree. Can you see? So I just felt, okay, let me do the national service, you know. So those are the issues, the challenges, you know. So students that are delayed in Nigerian university cannot even articulate to advance their degrees, you know. Before they come out from the university, they are almost 30 years. And most of the employers are looking for people within the range of 20 to 25 years. Can you see? So these are major challenges why, of course, most of these people may want to move overseas to look for opportunity. And of course, with regards to student bodies, many of them now move, and to be frank with you, many don't come back again. They take the opportunity they see overseas. Then, of course, our scientists, who are those moving? Our scientists, our top scientists have moved. Can you see? Our top scientists, even apart from scientists, even our literary gurus have left. Once upon a time, Professor Walisha Inka was a professor in the US, you know, for so many years. The same thing applies to Professor Chinua Achebe, was in the US. Can you see? For so many years. And these are people who are supposed to be grooming the young Nigerian talent in that particular space. Can you see? So these are challenging. And if you come to South Africa, you can see a whole profile of Nigerian academics. The same thing applies to America. The same thing applies to when you go to UK. You see academics, African academics, Nigeria, Ghana, and of course Nigeria, Ghana, Ethiopians. Can you see? So these are the major countries where we are actually experiencing the bigger brain drain. And of course, these are the most populous countries within the African continent. Can you see? So these people move out of Africa to Europe and of course America, and to certain extent Middle East nowadays. And the painful aspect of it is that they acquire a lot of experiences, a lot of technological know-how, a lot of exposures, a lot of expertise, but now they don't come back. They don't transfer this knowledge that has been gained outside, that have been gained outside the shore of the continent back to the continent. So they serve the African, they serve the advanced countries or the European continent, or of course American continent, till they become old. I remember when I went to the US for a conference, I met a 70 years professor from the western part of Nigeria who is still struggling and of course still lecturing in the United States of America. So these are the things we see. He cannot come back home. Come back for which facility? So those are some of the issues. So these are the targets. The students, the scientists, the professionals are the brains that are drained. Now they go outside the country, they acquire some brain, which is of course the gain, but now they don't transfer this gain to their native countries. Now we progress. Now, what are the causes of this brain drain with regards to African professionals leaving their country of birth or leaving their native country? The main pull, in terms of the causes, I think we can demarcate them between the push factors and, of course, the pull factors. Push factors are the factors that are pushing people out of their own country of birth to seek out greener pastures in another man's country. And of course, the pull factors are those attractive things in another man's country that is actually drawing people to go to another man's country. And when we look at some of the pull factors, there you can see unfavorable condition in developing countries, very unfavorable condition. Things are not working. Everything is totally going upside down to the extent that somebody says no. Some of the African countries are no more developing countries but underdeveloped countries. Can you see? And if you look, some of the challenges include job insecurity, which is of course issues of job security. Most of the jobs are not secure. Low wages that are paid to workers. And of course, this low wage has also been exacerbated by the exchange rate between I'm just getting a message. Screen sharing is now paused. Is there any challenge?
No, I can still see your screen.
Okay. No, I just got a message. Screen sharing is now paused. So I just want to be sure. Okay. So low wages, and the low wage has also been exacerbated by the exchange rate between dollar and most of the African countries' currency, you know. And these are some of the things kind of that were insinuated, that was what Muammar Gaddafi was trying to do, that in fact we should move from this issue of conversion rate of hard currency to gold standard, which we were using before, because it seems to me that somehow there is a way that we will never get closer to the hard currencies of pounds, of dollar, of euro, and the rest when compared to our own exchanges with them, which affects our balance of payment adversely. Then, of course, another issue there is high crime rate. Rate of crime is high in Africa. And after enduring first attack, second attack, third attack, if you have an opportunity, you will run away. Can you see? Crime rate in Africa is also making people, most African countries, also making people to leave their motherland. For instance, in Nigeria, look at the number of crimes. Boko Haram in one area, kidnappers in another areas, Fulani herdsmen in another areas, bandits in another areas. You can see, that alone can make one to leave. Armed robbers in another areas, you know. And when we come to South Africa, you can also talk about rate of crime, killings, raping of women, violence against women, and all the rest. Can you see? That can force somebody to leave the African continent. And of course, another issue there, armed conflict. You can see the conflict in Africa. Al-Shabaab exploding in Kenya. And of course, Southern Sudan and all the rest. And that conflict is also very visible in Nigeria in different respects. Can you see? This can actually prompt one to say, no, I'm tired of staying in my motherland, or I'm tired of staying in my native land. Insecurity everywhere. Can you see? We're hearing about insecurity. Job discrimination. Job discrimination, although is is perceived to be inexistent in South Africa as a result of the affirmative action policy to redress the legacy of apartheid, but also there is job discrimination also in some African countries. For instance, even Nigeria. You may be well qualified and you don't get the job. And somebody may get the job because of the tribe or because of the ethnic group he belongs to. That alone can make you feel that, oh, I cannot become a second-class citizen in my own country, and as such, you move to a neutral ground where you'll be valued, and your talent will be appreciated. And of course, another issue there is lack of basic infrastructure. Not infrastructure. I was delivering a lecture at ESUD Business School last time, and I told them, look at the infrastructure. No good hospital. The leadership is rushing to overseas to treat themselves. Now, not caring that the masses they are leading have to also take care of themselves in the hospital. So our hospitals are as good as mortuary. Now you talk about our road, bad roads everywhere. You know, in terms of if we put Nigeria into context, you know, you can see bad road, and I believe these are also applicable to many African countries. You know, Of course, South Africa has done very well in terms of infrastructure. They are still retaining their infrastructure, which was, of course, some of the positive legacies of previous administration. But you cannot get a good infrastructure in many African countries, you know. So that alone can prompt one to say, no, I'm tired of staying here, and one may migrate. Political repression can also make one to leave his own country. So you can see the current crisis in a place like Nigeria, where the youths have now risen up to say, no, enough of police brutality. Stop the end SARS and all the rest. And protests also, it's not only in Nigeria, there are also countries that are also quite repressive. Also, even in Uganda, also, the police are also a little bit repressive, you know. Another political related activities that can actually make one to leave his home country. Bureaucratic hurdles, a lot of bureaucracy. In most organizations in Africa, things are not transparent. Can you see? For the fact that somebody wants a bribe from you, it can delay your document for so many years, pushing you from one office to the other. Can you see? Until you are forced to part with something. Can you see? Most of those things can actually irritate someone to say, no, I'm tired of staying in this country or in a particular country. Then human rights abuses. Can you see? Human rights abuses. These are things that can prompt one to leave to another country. In fact, recently I saw a military man flogging an elderly man. I saw a military man flogging a man with a wife. That you don't see in other countries. I spent so many years in India, and I have not even seen a military man fighting a civilian throughout my years in India. You don't see militaries every time on the street of India. They only come out when there is war. They stay in their barracks. Can you see? No, but if you look at when we talk of Africa, you see that the military come out every time, abuse citizens, and nothing happens. You know, you can see now the controversy trolling the recent protests in Lagos when some youths were alleged to have been massacred. Can you see? By the military. You know, which is of course turning your gun on your citizens. You know, such kind of things can actually make someone to say, no, enough is enough. Let me go to another man's land. Can you see? Then also devaluation of the currency. Devaluation since structural adjustment program that also resulted in the devaluation of currency in many third world countries, including of course because I will not put South Africa into context with regards to that, because South Africa was still under apartheid when the structural adjustment program was introduced, which was of course sold to many African countries by the IMF or current World Trade Organization, that we should actually embrace a structural adjustment program and devalue our currency. Now the question arises, how do you devalue your currency when you are not exporting? I think that was the greatest mistake most African countries and of course many third world countries made, which has actually kept our currencies below the normal standard. Because in those days, in the 70s, 80s, for instance, 1 naira was equivalent to £1, which is to say that even the Nigerian currency was stronger than American dollar in the 70s and 80s. But compare where it is today, $1 is almost 150 or 170 naira. So you can see that what you can buy with 1 naira before now, you have to bring cough out about 470 naira to buy that. And of course, poor educational system, which has pushed our youths out of the country to study elsewhere. Corruption, nepotism, tribalism, cronyism, and cabalism. All these are new dynamics that are actually forcing people to leave their motherland. And of course, bad governance. Bad governance in many countries in Africa. Can you see? So all these things can prompt one to say, no, let me go to a place where life is fair, where there is good governance. And when we talk about the push factors, in terms of the push factors, that is actually favorable condition in developed countries. A very good example is abundant job opportunities. Can you see? Job opportunities are there. When students graduate with, and they know what they studied, they'll get somebody that will grant them a job. And if you get a better job and you are earning a hard currency and you are paid well, I think with that you say au revoir to Africa or to other African countries. And of course, high salary, is part of this. And another thing also in terms of the pull factor is prestige of foreign training. Prestige of foreign training. That is to say that you feel that fulfillment getting a foreign qualification. I remember my cousin who did computer engineering in Nigeria was telling me that when they did computer engineering, they never saw even a computer. They were seeing it from their books. Can you see? Unlike some of the advanced countries where you have to pieces the computer and see even the nitty-gritty of computer, So those are some of the issues, So prestige in terms of foreign training, low crime rate in advanced countries because of proper security, because of good training to the policemen and of course to the military outfit there. Greater mobility, can you see? Being in an advanced country gives you greater mobility, moving from one country to the other, seeking for better opportunities, can you see? So it opens opportunities, can you see? If I put myself in a contest, I remember now that you contacted me without even knowing you guys. That is because you have seen my profile everywhere, that through Google, through so many activities that I have organized. That is something you may not see some Nigerian academic having opportunity, but they are good. Can you see? But because I am in an environment that is progressive, there is that mobility, there is that connectedness, there is that kind of being within the global stage. Can you see? So greater mobility. And of course, another thing also in terms of the pull factor is atmosphere of freedom. Can you see? Freedom of expression, freedom of speech. Can you see? Freedom of speech, academic freedom. Can you see? But now in some of the repressive African countries, if you speak so much, somebody can end your life. Can you see? That is a challenge. So if you want an atmosphere of freedom, you speak. At least that reminds me of Wole Soyinka during the military junta in Nigeria, who was, not Wole Soyinka, Dele Giwa, during the military junta in Nigeria, who was speaking out and addressing some issues, and his life was terminated with a lethal bomb. Can you see? So there's no atmosphere of freedom in such kind of environment. Then, of course, bureaucratic control. A lot of less bureaucratic control in advanced country. You don't see so much bureaucracy. You don't see somebody looking for bribe in advanced country. Can you see? If you have done it, you have done it. If you have what it takes, they accept you. Can you see? If you don't have what it takes, they reject you. Can you see? Everything is fair. Then another issue there is safe environment. Can you see? Safe environment to work, safe environment to live your life to the fullest. Can you see? Even like, if I give an example, in South Africa, even by 2 a.m. in the midnight, you can be in the street. You can enjoy yourself, go to club. But if you compare that with an environment like Nigeria, where there is no light in the night, somebody can be kidnapped. Somebody can be victimized. Can you see? Under such circumstances, one may decide to say, okay, let me leave this environment and just have a good life. Then another one is higher standard of living. There's no doubt that the advanced country have higher standard of living, and anybody that want good thing may decide, oh, let me move to an advanced country with my expertise or with my profession. And of course, good governance. Can you see? There is good governance. Can you see? Can you compare the governance in Britain or in America with the governance we are seeing in Africa? No. Of course, the answer is no. So such kind of a thing can actually prompt people to say, let me move to another country to live a better life or to make progress in life. All right. Now, motivation with regards to South Africa. What are the motivations that have made many people to live, some people to live in South Africa? And when I say some people anyway, with regards to South Africa, it has to do with demography. So I believe that some of those who have left more are, of course, the white skilled workers in South Africa. Immediately after the end of apartheid, we started seeing some of them leaving for one reason or the other. And those reasons have been contextualized in this chart that I'm presenting to you. The first one of the reasons that some of them claim that is making them to leave is international experience. They want to gain an international experience. Of course, that can be valid after apartheid, because apartheid was a closed kind of policy, that restricted a lot of people. So during the apartheid period, both the whites and the black were like in a prison country. So after the end of apartheid, there could be possibility that some white also want to get that international exposure and also acquire some international experience in terms of how they work and in terms of how they relate with others. And the other one is safety and security. That is the second one. Almost with regards to this research, this empirical research by Anko Forer, about say 69% says international experience is what is making them to leave, and about that is 62% says that safety and security is the reason why they decide to leave South Africa, and about 53% says that salary level in South Africa is the reason why they are leaving. The fact that Middle East pays more than South Africa, and of course about 45% or 46% says that affirmative action policy, like I mentioned earlier, which of course was meant to address or redress the legacy of apartheid by empowering the black, the previously disadvantaged individual, thereby making the young upcoming whites to feel that they are victimized. Some are of the view that they have been punished for the sins they never committed, the sins that were committed by their forebears, in terms of affirmative action. So that could be one aspect that is making some of them to say, okay, let's go, let me move to overseas country because of this challenge. Another aspect is high taxation. There's also 40% of respondents of the view that that is about 42% of respondents of the view that taxation is quite high in South Africa, and unlike Middle East, where your salary is tax-free, your earning is tax-free. And of course, there are some that mention cost of living, which is a lower percentage, standard of public and government services, which is about 20%. Now, if South Africans are complaining of public and government services, then think about other countries like other countries like Mali, or other countries like Burkina Faso, or other countries that are poor. You see, so that is with regards to that. Who's talking to me? Emmanuel, are you giving me a sign?
Yes, bro.
Okay, what is the sign? okay. No, I have so much to talk, but I will try to wangle it as fast as I can. Political factors, job opportunities outside the country, transfer by employers are also other reasons, and of course, so many others. Then African migrant to the United States by country of birth, you can see that in fact it doubled from 1981 to 2000 with regards to this diagram in terms of, for instance, Nigeria in 1980 to 1990, only 35,300 migrated out of Nigeria, but from 1991 to 2000, almost 67,300 migrated out of Nigeria. And this applies to other big African countries, Nigeria, Ethiopia, Egypt, Ghana, and South Africa. So it's actually on the upward trend. Now, these are just statistics that I have included if you receive this slide in terms of frightening statistics of African brain drain and immigrants or emigrants. You can see that many of our professionals are leaving. My screen is frozen.
Yeah, it has been on this single slide for a while now. I can speak to other slides.
Oh, okay. So that is that. Some of the statistics. Let me just. I'm just rushing up to round up. So students as well as other professionals leave African continent for further education, training, and experiences, perhaps with the intention of coming back to develop their countries with knowledge gained from training in better countries. However, in most cases, Africa does not reap the benefit because the brains refuse to come home after the trains. I see. And of course, effect of brain drain. Let me not belabor myself because I have actually spoken about them. These are some of the effects with regards to brain drain. How do we revise the trend? One aspect of revising the trend is stopping the brain drain. Is not impossible, in fact, but of course there are so many ways we can revise it. For instance, it is wealthy countries and international organizations should send money also sometimes to boost the salaries of African health workers. Most of those health workers that most of those countries that they have tapped their resources from, and some of the things there that are regulation of expatriate living in Africa. I'm seeing myself now appearing. What's happening? All right. Okay. So, colleagues, let me not waste my time any longer because I think Emmanuel is already giving me signal. But these are just some of the things I have compiled, which I thought I will actually dish out in terms of my presentation. Now, enhancing brain gain and brain circulation through African and EU collaboration. EU can collaborate with African countries in rebuilding their dilapidated infrastructure and social amenities that have made many professionals to migrate to better environment. So return of African professionals trained in the EU countries should become a priority to both continents. Future migration of professionals to Europe should to an extent be monitored and managed by African countries in partnership with European countries or EU. As mentioned earlier, some African doctors and nurses in the EU and USA should once in a while be allowed to work in their native country for some months in a year. Medical professors of African origin, for instance, could be mandatorily required to spend their sabbatical years in African medical school to support the training of future generations of doctors, as well as conducting research with their local counterparts. This should also apply to other disciplines. effort should be made to narrow the gap in foreign exchange. I think I spoke about the foreign exchange issue, the problem of the foreign exchange issue. All right. So, colleagues, I don't know, like you said, my system seems to be freezing. I don't know why it is so. Okay. EU universities should also regularly collaborate with African universities to enhance the standard of teaching, learning, and learning, research, and innovation taking place in many African universities. EU countries must stop supporting repressive leaders and government in Africa and impose sanctions and visa restrictions on leaders who failed their people. EU should support Africans to fight corruption by freezing the bank account and assets of corrupt leaders in Europe and handing it over to the country when the leader is no more in power. EU and America must stop sponsoring later conflict in many African countries through arms deals to rival parties. Now, in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't talk so many things because of the time constraint. Brain drain seems to be impeding the rate of economic development in Africa. At the same time, brain drain, brain drain cannot end without any given strategy to manage it. Not always emphasized are the gains from the drain. There are gains from the drain. The African continent will continue to derive considerable benefit in resources and human capital as a result of brain drain in the form of brain gain and circulation. The only solution, just like a virus in humans, is to accept and learn how to live with it by making the best of it. Put differently, the pain that emanates from the brain drain can be drained if more professionals are trained and efforts are made to gain from those already drained. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Prof, for this very thorough presentation. And apologies for the technical issues. Like the platform probably has its issues here and there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a very well researched work, and you presented it from very detailed background up to suggestion of solutions and conclusion, including asking for priority between the Africa and the EU if they really want to end this, and probably enhancing more brain circulation by collaborating between universities across both continents, and also supporting the African continent to fight against corruption and all of the EUs that have bedeviled the continent and its researchers and people in the recent times. Thank you very much once again. Sorry that the time is a bit short. Just keep it all quickly going, and we can
Thanks a lot.
Then wrap up quickly as well. Since you're taking so much time before starting in the first place. Thanks once again.
Thanks a lot.
So, colleagues, I think at this point we'll probably just move on to the next talk without further ado, because except if anyone has a burning question, probably we can take that. If anybody has a burning question, you can actually unmute and ask quickly. I can create time for one question, after which we'll move on to the next talk. Anybody? You can unmute yourself or ask to be unmuted. Or type into the chat box if you have any burning question for both before we move on. Okay, I guess there's none. So I'll just move on straight to the next talk, and the presenter for the next talk, this second guest speaker for today,